Hey everyone, Scottiplier here, and for this video, this might be a bit of a long one. I don't know how long it's gonna be, we'll see. But I did this documentary kind of a video a couple of years ago. I believe it was summer of 2023. I was explaining several things in that video, and I kind of want to do a part 2 of that and explain some things that have happened within the past several months, I guess, ever since that experience of sort of almost getting scammed, but not really, because I didn't send money to this person at all. Thankfully, I was able to end it before that happened. So those recordings did happen. I did get those recordings, and I uploaded them a few days ago in a shorts. So that's what that is, from that experience. And it was a conversation I was having with this person on Telegram, and the conversation, it felt authentic and at certain points, while at the same time felt similar to the past of being scammed by people claiming to be Anna Sophia Rob. It felt similar, but at the same time, there were parts talking to this person on Telegram where it really did genuinely feel like genuine and real, and the person used a verified account with a blue check mark on it. That's one of the reasons why I believed it was really Anna Sophia Rob. And also those recordings, I believed them. But another thing about that whole experience, talking to that person on Telegram, there were points where I was thinking something in my head and the person said it in text, and it was like the person was reading my mind. And there were just moments like that in that conversation where it was like, oh wow, it just felt very surreal. Looking back at that conversation and thinking about it, it felt surreal, and in a way, just something that I just wasn't sure how to handle or think about. Looking back on it, it's just kind of a bad experience. I'll just put it lightly. It was a bad experience, and it's over. My New Year's resolution for this year and in the future going forward, not letting myself getting scammed ever again, relating to Anna Sophia Rob. I'm sure everyone gets scammed at some point, right? There's always different ways people can scam you, whether it's through text or through social media or even through other means like email. That's always going to happen. There will always be scams in various other ways. So I'm not saying I can avoid getting scammed completely, but I can at least avoid getting scammed by someone claiming to be Anna Sophia Rob again going forward. That I can do. But anyway, I do want to briefly touch upon some of the things I've talked about before in the past and add on to it just a little bit. I've mentioned this before in the crash review and in my documentary video from a couple of years ago. Diana Agron, she went to BIS, which is the middle school my dad taught at, and she's 9 years older than me. She's 38 now, I believe, Diana Agron. And I was a baby when she was at my dad's school. I was 2, maybe 1 years old, and Diana Agron was at my dad's school at BIS. And probably, I'm assuming my dad probably had a baby photo of me somewhere in his classroom. So there's a chance that Diana Agron saw a baby picture of me in my dad's classroom from back then when she had my dad as a teacher. So it's just that odd connection there with Diana Agron, and the fact that she worked with Anna Sophia Rob on the Crash movie. And then Woody Harrelson, who I asked my mom about it, exactly when she met him, and she said maybe early 1990s, 1990, 1991, when Woody Harrelson was staying at the Westin Hotel in Millbrae, which is, Millbrae and Burlingame are two cities that are connected, by the way. And it's near the San Francisco airport. And Burlingame, that's where we live now, Burlingame. But yeah, and the Westin Hotel in Millbrae, my mom used to work there back then in the 90s. And she said that she met Woody once when she was trying to help him pay for something, and he was having a hard time getting his card out. More of a funny story, really, than anything else. But yeah, just based on the fact alone that my mom met him, and that he also starred in a movie with Anna Sophia Rob, with the Sleepwalking movie, and so there's that. And that's pretty much it. And then also, of course, what happened at the Fan Expo a few months ago, my photo op with Cameron Monaghan, and the fact that he's worked with Anna Sophia Rob as well on Mercy Street. It's a lot, it really is. And then, you know, all the experiences getting scanned with these past few years, just all of it just adding up. And and like this massive puzzle that is my life, as I'm always saying in my videos. And also, you know, I want to touch upon this like last, like, because I was reading this article about Anna Sophia Rob recently, and there's some things in that article that I read that confirmed some things that I was aware of, and some things I was suspicious of about Anna Sophia Rob. And I was right when I was reading this article. Some things that I thought about in regards to her were correct. I know that she's selective about her roles, right? She doesn't appear in as many things as you might think. But she does want to continue acting. Like, she loves her career. She wants to continue acting. She's just a little bit selective about the movies and shows that she works on, because she likes, like me, like, for those of you that don't know, movies like the Planet of the Apes films, I absolutely love, you know? When you watch a movie that's based on something real, and it's telling a compelling story, and it has life lessons and complex themes in it, and you have well-written characters, well-realized characters, fleshed out characters, those are the kinds of movies and shows that I latch on to personally, because that's where my appreciation for movies and TV shows go, when it's a story that's based on something real, and it's also teaching you as the audience with life lessons and important complex themes, while at the same time being told through a fictional lens. Like, that's what I value most about movies and TV shows. And I was reading this article about Anna, and she kind of thinks that same way I do about movies and TV shows, and wanting to be involved in something about a story that's based on something real, told through a fictional lens. And that's something that I noticed in a lot of her movies and shows that she's in, and I can tell that she sees movies and TV shows the same way I do. And also, she also, you know, in this article I was reading, she mentioned that she'd want to work with a friendly environment, with people that she can learn from, you know, other actors that she can learn from, and, you know, cast and crew. And yeah, I mean, if I was an actor, like if I was an actor wanting to work in movies and TV shows, I'd also want to work in a friendly environment. You know, I want to work with people that I can, you know, communicate with very well with. You know, I'd want to make friends with the people I'm working with. I'd want to learn from them as well. So, I mean, I think that same way as well. Like, and yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Like, if I was an actor like her, I'd want the same thing. I'd want to work in a friendly environment and learn from the people I'm working with. So that's another thing. And one last thing, this is the last thing I want to talk about the most. This is why I wanted to make this video. In this article I was reading, Anna mentioned feeling depressed during COVID. And that I completely understand. It was this strange virus that was completely spreading throughout the entire world, and the idea of coping with that, and then you have all these different emotions that you've never had before, and it's scary. It's really scary, and that can lead to depression, feeling confined, isolated, lonely. Like, I felt that way during COVID too, and with the pandemic and all that. And I had to work at a grocery store every day. I had to work at a grocery store every day. Well, I mean, not when I was off, but I'm a courtesy clerk, I had to be in a very unsafe environment during the height of the pandemic every day, meaning that in a way I kind of risked my life every day working at Safeway during the height of the pandemic. And I mean, I did the best I could, and during that time, like Anna Sophia Rob was going through a lot emotionally, having so many different emotions going every which way, and eventually, getting depressed, extremely depressed. And I've been extremely depressed for a long time, even before the pandemic. So it's this strange unknown factor that you're not familiar with, and it's hard to cope with something like that, and you have to try and learn to cope with it, and to try and learn to live with it. And for her, it was the pandemic, and for me, it's everything that I've been through these past several years. So I get extremely depressed too, and I think in a way I do have anxiety, and if anyone understands that, she would. If anyone understands if anyone understands the kind of things that I'm going through, she would. Anna would understand that. She'd understand depression and anxiety because she's been there. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to make this documentary video, because if she knew me personally, if Anna knew me, she'd be able to understand some of the things that I'm going through. And one other thing I was reading in this article is the fact that, this part kind of upset me a little bit. Well, I mean, not upset. I guess it bothered me a little bit, because in this article she mentioned like wanting to have a relationship with someone outside of her acting career, and that's when she met Trevor. And she said she preferred dating someone that wasn't a celebrity, basically. And I'm not a celebrity. I'm a regular guy, and I know that part shouldn't bother me, but for some reason it just does, because I'm a regular guy. And she said she preferred dating a regular guy versus someone she's worked with before as an actor. And I know this is a bit of a weird parallel to make, but I mentioned this also in my first documentary video. My dad passed away at the end of 2016, over 8 years ago now at this point. And a few months before that, she met her longtime boyfriend and now husband, Trevor Paul. And she met him like in September, I believe. Yeah, it had to be September, because September was the month they got married several years later. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that they met like in September, I believe. Or they met each other in like a library or something, maybe, or like a coffee shop. And that's when Anna Sophia Rob met Trevor Paul in a coffee shop, I think. And he was reading a book, Harry Potter and something like that. And I lost someone very close to me. And back then, I lost my dad. It was early December too. And I lost someone near and dear to me. And within that same few months, September to December, Anna gained someone that eventually became near and dear to her, and who is now her husband. So it's like, I know it's kind of a weird parallel to make, but it's sort of odd the way that turned out. All these connections, all these weird parallels, all these freaky coincidences that I have been through these past several years. I I need to try and learn to cope with it and live with it, while at the same time trying to move forward with my life. And that's easier said than done. It really is for me, but I have to try, right? And I just don't know what else to do in regards to reaching out to Anna Sophia Rob. I don't know what else to do. I've tried everything, and I just wish that she, I don't know, I just feel like she owes me after everything that I've been through. But yes, I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about here, and I just wish there was some way I could somehow maybe one day meet her and talk to her. And I feel like if she did know me, she'd understand me in a way that some other people might not. I feel like she would. I feel like she'd sympathize with me. And that's probably the reason why I'm having a hard time coping. I've also mentioned this before. Another reason why this is a hard time for me, why I'm struggling so much, is because it feels like we have so much in common. It feels like we have so much in common. She values movies and TV shows the same way I do. She likes a lot of the same things I do. And, you know, like I mentioned before in the past, some of these weird parallels between my life and hers. And it's like, it's just so much. The very idea of all this and coping with it is just a lot, and it's overwhelming, and I have all these different emotions going every which way, which leads to me getting depressed a lot of the time, and that's why this is hard. That's why this is so hard for me, and trying to learn to cope with it is just so difficult for me. But I'm trying. You know, I'm not alone. I have my family. I have my best friend Sean, and I have you guys, and I'm going to continue to struggle emotionally. I just am. I'm going to continue to struggle, and I'm doing my best to try and learn to cope with everything that I've been through. And Anna Sophia Rob, you know, she had to learn to deal with COVID when that was still active, and she had to learn to live with it while at the same time moving forward. And in that time frame, she got very depressed, and I completely understand that. Feeling confined and isolated, I feel like that a lot of the time too, and lonely. So I feel for her, and what she dealt with during the pandemic. And yeah, I care about her. I always will. And if by some chance she does know about my YouTube channel, God bless you, Anna Sophia Rob. I'll always care about you, and I hope you're doing well out there. And also to everyone else watching this, I hope you're all doing well too. I hope you guys are okay after watching this video. Hopefully I didn't get a little bit. Hopefully I didn't get a little bit too teary-eyed making this video. But yeah, it's a lot. It's overwhelming for me at times. It really is. And then, you know, I mentioned before that I have autism, so I was diagnosed with autism when I was 9. I mentioned that already, but yeah, that should do it, I think, for everything that I wanted to talk about here. Just adding a few little extra details to some of those things I mentioned before about Diana Agron, Woody Harrelson, and, you know, all that about this article I was reading about her, Anna Sophia Rob. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'm wondering what is going on with Daredevil Born Again. Apparently they delayed the trailer because of the LA fires. That's another thing. There's a lot going on right now in LA with the wildfires, and I hope everyone, I feel for everyone going through that right now. Everyone that has been evacuated, and the people that are being affected by it. Even celebrities are being affected by the wildfires right now in LA. And I wish the best for everyone. I really do. So please take care and be safe. I love you all. Take care, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care and have a great day. Peace.